Hi all, I am Bithin. Today I am going to explain about the ionic bonding. We know that every elements are participated in chemical reaction. For what purpose they are participated in chemical reaction? For achieving the stability. What do you mean by stability? We know that the simplest form of an element is an atom. In every atom there are electrons. Not only electrons, protons and neutrons is also there. But in the case of electrons, in the outermost shell of an atom need sufficient number of electrons. That is called stability. Some atoms doesn't have the sufficient number of electrons on the outermost shell. That type of atoms need to attain or give the excess amount of electrons on the outermost shell to attaining the stability. For that, they are participated in the bonding. Mainly there are two types of bonding, ionic bonding and covalent bonding. In this class, now I am going to explain about this ionic bonding. Ionic bonding means the transfer of electron. Transfer of electrons. Let me take an example of sodium and chloride. We know that sodium chloride, NaCl, is a compound that we are using in our home commonly, and its common name is called common salt, NaCl. How the bond formation between this sodium and chloride? Let me check out how it is. Here, the atomic number of sodium is 11. Atomic number of sodium is 11. So, of sodium is 11. So, there are 11 electrons in sodium atom and 11 protons in sodium atom, and electron have the negative charge and the proton have the positive charge, and the protons are arranged on the center of the atom, while the electrons are placed on the orbit or shell which is around the center of the atom. And here the electronic configuration of sodium is 2, 8, 1, which means that in the first shell or orbit the maximum number of electrons that we can accommodate is 2, and in the second shell of an atom the maximum number of electrons that we can accommodate is 8, and the third shell the maximum number of, for stability an atom need 8 electrons. For stability an atom need 8 electrons. But in the case of sodium, how many electrons on the outermost shell? Only 1 electron. So sodium have the two options: receive 7 electrons from any other atoms or remove these 1 electrons. This is the two options. Sodium definitely choose to remove these 1 electrons for receiving 7 electrons from other atoms which needs more energy. So the easiest way is to transfer 1 electron. So the second orbit became the outermost shell of a sodium atom. If a sodium transfer 1 electron on the outermost shell of the sodium atom, then the second shell became the outermost shell. So in the second shell of a sodium atom there are 8 electrons. So the sodium became stable. But one more condition is there. We know that the atomic number of sodium atom is 11, which means that sodium contains 11 electrons and 11 protons, which means that 11 negative charge and 11 positive charge. If 1 electron is transferred, which means its number of negative charge is reduced to 10. Total number after transferring 1 electron from the outermost shell, the total number of electrons is reduced to 10, which means that electron becomes 10. But the positive charge, the protons remains same. So now the sodium is a positive charged ion, which is called cation. Cation. After transferring 1 electron from the outermost shell, the number of electrons is decreased, but the number of protons is still remain. So we can say that sodium is a positive charged ion, which means that it is a cation. Now, let's go to the case of chlorine. Chlorine, the atomic number of chlorine is 70, and the electronic configuration of chlorine is 287, which means that 2 electrons on the first shell, which means that in the K shell, and 8 electrons on the second shell and the L shell. And in the outermost shell, there are 7 electrons on the outermost shell and in the M shell. Another name of first, second and third shell is K, L and M. So chlorine need one more electron to achieve the stability. Here also 2 options for chlorine. Remove these 7 electrons from the outermost shell or receive 1 electron from any other atom to achieve the stability. Definitely the chlorine will choose to receive 1 electron for stability, because for removing these 7 electrons from the outermost shell needed so much energy. So the chlorine select to receive 1 electron from any other atom. Here, while comparing both the cases, the sodium need to remove 1 electron and the chlorine need 1 electron for the stability. Definitely they will combine. When chlorine receive 1 electrons, the number of protons in chlorine is 17, which means that chlorine has 17 positive charge. And before receiving that 1 electron, chlorine has 17 negative charge. After receiving that 1 electron, the number of electrons becomes 18. So in the case of chlorine, the negative charge is one more while comparing with the positive charge. So we can say that the chlorine, after receiving that 1 electron, the chlorine is an anion. Chlorine is an anion after receiving that electron. Here, sodium is a cation after transferring that electron. Here is a positive charge and here is a negative charge. So there is an attraction between this positive and negative charge. And this force of attraction is called bonding. Attraction between the ions, between the cation and anion. The attraction between the cation and anion. So this type of bonding between 2 atoms for achieving the stability is called ionic bonding. There are a lot of properties of this ionic bonding that we can study on the next class. Thank you for watching.